Welcome back to Showbiz Insider, your entertainment news roundup. So the fashion highlight of the year is always fashion forward, and this season they showcase couture and pret-a-porter designers from across the region. It is known as the definitive fashion platform in the Middle East, and it had international stars such as Zareena, Ezra, Issa, and of course Furne. Take a look. The event prides itself on being a fashion movement that highlights diversity in design collections whilst nurturing industry growth. Since its inception in April 2013, it has established itself as a major player in the region's fashion industry, top trends and cutting-edge talent. Tackling hard-hitting subjects with the juxtaposition of war footage against a collection of beautiful Grecian-style gowns, Zareena is an inspiring local powerhouse of a label. Zareena, congratulations on such a beautiful collection.
Thank you.
Last season it was all about Arabian Nights, and this season it went from this film about war to this incredible, ethereal, beautiful, beautiful collection. What was the journey there?
In the beginning, I have to say thank you very much for you to come and see my show. Second thing, it was a thought that I was thinking all the time about it, that how can I blend the chaos and the war with the peace and love?
Right.
So when I started the collection, every time I wanted to do something, it was just pushing me back. And when I saw the war, what was happening in the entire war, I decided to have only talk about peace. Because of that, if you notice, first time in my life, I did only white colors mostly.
Yeah.
So I wanted just to show the people that we can live in peace, in white, in everything in a nice way, you know.
And I mean, it was quite an interesting juxtaposition, but your signature was still there, like your brand concept, the embroidery.
The embroidery was still there, yes.
And I believe that Zareena means golden thread in Persian. So do you actually feel that you were just born to design?
I think so, because I feel, I tried my best. You know, every time I keep on thinking that I will retire and sit and relax, but I cannot. For me, work is my passion. Work is Zareena.
And tell me a little bit about the actual pieces, like with the beautiful draping. What kind of techniques do you use to create your look?
See, this time we used a different kind of fabric. This time we used georgette fabrics mostly. I used to use chiffons. I used to use, last time we used cotton. This time we used the texture in the georgette and in the chiffon. And we tried to make it as a plissé, some of them. If you saw the pleats,
yeah.
we made it in-house. And then at the same time, we tried to have some feathers in it and that to show that, you know, like it's, you know, they are flying, the piece is there and that. So we created that.
I felt like it had a bit of a Grecian element. Was there anything of that in there? These like goddess kind of gowns?
Yes, I made it to look this way. If you notice their hair and their makeup and that. So I made a contrast. My finale was the sad person, and you know, if you noticed her makeup and that, and the rest were the angels. Like I wanted to show that the angels are holding the person, the finale, to tell her come out from it.
And Jean-Louis Sabadge's collections are always a celebration of nature and romance. Exploring the language of flowers, he tells stories of love, jealousy, seduction and desire. That's using 3D design techniques and structures. So Jean-Louis, congratulations on that beautiful collection. Now I know your work is always very nature inspired, and this one has a great story about secret messages.
Exactly.
Tell us about that.
So the concept of the collection, the title is actually floriography. So it's the language of flowers, which was used in the Victorian era, where people used to send coded messages in forms of bouquets of flowers. So in this show, I wanted like every dress to have a story. Every dress has a message. So as you can see, the dresses are like, some of them shows.
Some of it was quite kind of like seductive, and some of it was very floral.
Exactly. Some of them are romantic. Some of them are like fierce. So like different messages run through the dresses.
Now I remember in your last collection you'd introduced the silicone technique,
Exactly.
which was really interesting and different, and you've used that again in this collection.
Exactly.
Yeah, and there was also a lot of roping. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so as you said, like I always use the silicone and the braided techniques like, as if these are my signature. So I always interpret them in all my collections. So the silicone I used this time, I wanted to show like the thorns of the flowers on the stem, and all the twisting I did is to show like the branches and to tell different stories.
Now, I noticed that this one was very multimedia. We had this beautiful film at the beginning,
Exactly.
and I know that that was obviously to inspire. For me, it looked like a modern day Titania. Is that what you were kind of going for?
Yeah, as you saw in the film, like I wanted to show different moods, different feelings. Like when the model is like acting in the film, like sometimes she's like in pain, sometimes she's like great, you know, like I wanted to show different, as I said, you know, like different messages in the dresses. I wanted to show the same in the movie.
Absolutely. Now Lebanese designers are really making a mark internationally at the moment. Why do you think this is? You know, why is there so much extraordinary work coming out of Lebanon?
I don't know, maybe it's Lebanon.
From Lebanon to Morocco, Saeed Marouf introduced his Suprematism collection. Inspired by Kazimir Malevich's paintings, the limited range of colours and forms express pure artistic feeling through an uber-wearable pret-a-porter line. So Saeed, I remember the last collection that you showed here was 50 Shades of Grey.
True.
This is completely different. So this is more sort of geometric form and colour blocking. What was the inspiration? Where did this all come from?
No, the geometric forms and
Right.
the primary colors are very Malevich, and this was also my inspiration. The painter Malevich and his concept of the work that he created, Suprematism, is the idea that you create from feeling. And I thought this was a nice way to start this collection and make some reference to this. And of course, when I do create myself, I never have like, I do really intuitively. I don't take from things as like how I feel and how I investigate and see things and how I drape things, and then they become a collection.
I love all the draping, and we were just saying earlier, like your work is so wearable.
Yes.
You know, what I find so interesting about you is your background was in costume design.
Yeah.
Is that not working
Yes.
with dancers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, that was a different way of creating things, because I used to make costumes that are like not for everyday use, that were not wearable, but I could express myself, because we were doing performances on location talking about architecture, so they were very like the construction of them were a bit complicated and probably very artistic. And now the challenge is to actually create clothes that are interesting, like now interestingly draped, and but they're actually still wearable.
And the ultimate fashion finale is always a Matto by Furne one. Titled Love is a Battlefield, this character-driven collection was based on Leo Tolstoy's tragic novel. Charcoal greys, acid-washed denim, top hats and skull motifs, it's an elaborate interpretation of the darker side of love. Furne, congratulations, another exquisite collection. Now, we've talked before how you refer to Tim Burton's films a lot. How did you come up with the mood board for this collection?
For this collection, I was so inspired with Anna Karenina, the 18th century. She was so brave enough to fight for her love, you know. So this is like, that's why the title of this collection is Love is a Battlefield. She fought for it, and during the time, the 18th century, it's not normal. It's a huge scandal.
It seemed much more darker, more sultry.
Depression, but bottom line is love.
Okay, so I actually thought it was more Tim Burton inspired this time.
There's a touch, of course.
Tell me a little bit about some of the signature cuts, the Amato cuts that we saw in this one.
Now I'm showing here denims, all denims, but we're showing it in the different cuts, like more casual, but yet formal. It's denim with crystals, denim with lace, because the cut is very 18th century, but the fabric is very modern. It's very now. So I'm mixing both eras.
I felt the models were very character-driven. It was more like costume. Like every work had a defined character. What did you say to them to sort of get into the roles backstage?
The role should be sexy and strong.
And one more question. I know you're doing a lot of stuff with film too. Why do you think it's so important to fuse film with fashion?
It's art. It's limitless. There's no boundaries.
Amazing collections, and of course the D3 fashion talks. But now leave your handbag on the fro, because next up we're going to get our geek on at Comic Con.